G'day guys, I'm not sure how windy it is here. Look, you may already know that if you adapt the Canon crop sensor EFS lenses to the full frame mirrorless cameras, it actually reduces the ultimate quality you can get out of that camera. That is to say, it punches down, it crops into the center of the sensor and the center of the lens for the picture from that lens to be able to fill a smaller condensed sensor, as would replicate an APS-C size sensor, and you get a reduction in the image size in terms of the file and also the quality. That seems logical, doesn't it? Because of course the EFS lens cannot deliver as wide enough of a light picture onto the full frame sensor in order for it to be able to create the image at the full resolution of the megapixels in that camera. But does it stand to reason that adapting an EFS lens onto, say, the R7, which as we know is an APS-C sized crop sensor, doesn't stand to reason that there would be any deterioration in the image quality in that scenario? And that's what we're here to test right now. Okay, so the way we're going to do this is I do have an EFS lens. It's the 18 to 135mm f3.5 to 5.6 IS. And I'm going to test that alongside the full frame equivalent at a series of focal lengths, namely using the RF 24mm f1.8, the RF 50mm f1.8, and also the RF 85mm f2. We're going to take a shot with each of those focal lengths with both the EFS lens and also the full frame RF equivalents and see if we can notice any deterioration in the image quality. We're not going to muck around, we're going to get straight into it. Another thing we're going to look at is the file size, because the file size will ultimately tell us the answer right from scratch. If we see a significantly reduced file size, then that's going to give us the answer we need. But hey, I'm going to shoot in both RAW and JPEG. The reason I'm going to shoot in JPEG is so you can see the comparison of the image quality without thinking that there's any trickery behind the scenes. And the reason I'm going to be shooting them all in RAW as well is so we can compare the RAW file size. Okay, so we're going to start off with the EFS 18 to 135mm lens. I've got it in manual mode. Let me just dial in an exposure here. I'm going to do them all in f5.6 and the exposure is going to be the same between all lenses and all examples. So I'm going to set the ISO to 100. I'm going to go for 200. We're focusing straight ahead on the subject. I'm going to dial in the shutter speed. We're going to go into 24mm on the EFS lens here. Okay, so the exposure we're going for this test is ISO 200, f5.6 on the aperture. And that is because f5.6 will be covered both in the crop lens and also in the primes. And the shutter speed, 1/1000th of a second. Oh, I've got it in 10-second mode. I'll change that next, but here we go. We're about to take the first shot. This is at 24mm. There we go. Let me just change that drive mode. What on the earth? Okay, so that was on the EFS lens at 24mm. Let's have a look at the image. Okay, now we're going to do the RF prime for the 24mm. And we got the image, let's have a look at that. And let's have a quick look at 24mm side by side, or at least one after the other, or however we might do it. This is the 24mm on the EFS 18 to 135. And this is the 24mm, the RF 24mm. Also the same exposure though, f5.6, ISO 200, 1/1000th of a second. This next one is at 50mm on the EFS lens. Let's look at the image. Okay, now we've got the RF 50mm, and we've also got the same exposure, ISO 200, f5.6, 1/1000th of a second. So let's have a look at the shot taken on the 18 to 135, the EFS lens. This is it here at 50mm, and then over to the RF 50mm, 1.8, but with the aperture at 5.6, so we get the same exposure. Do we notice any difference in the quality there or in the image? I mean, of course, the EFS 18 to 135 lens is not as good as the RF 50mm. I don't know what I'm even basing that on, but it's not a prime made at 50mm. So it's likely to presume that the RF 50mm will be slightly better, and it's also native to the system I'm using it on. Okay, let's try the next one. And this one, punching into 85mm on the EFS lens. Let's have a look at the image. And here we've got the RF 85mm f2, but we've still got that aperture of 5.6 as mentioned to keep the exposure the same. Everything else is the same. We're going to focus here and take the shot. So this is the shot at 85mm. And so we're going to look at those side by side or one after the other or however we do it. We've got the 85mm equivalent on the EFS 18 to 135mm. Remember, thousandths of a second, ISO 200, aperture 5.6. And now we're looking at the same photo taken on the 85mm RF. Same exposure. Do we notice any difference in the quality there? I mean, the RF 85mm f2 is an awesome lens, but overall I'm not sure we're seeing major differences there. And of course the final test is going to be to check the file sizes on the raw images. That's going to give us the ultimate answer whether or not we're seeing any degradation or deterioration in the image quality using adapted EFS lenses on the R7. Let's have a look at them now. We've got the examples here shot with the EFS 18 to 135mm, and we've got the examples here shot on the RF native lenses, the RF 24mm, the 50mm and the 85mm. I don't notice any major difference in the file sizes there. That means we're not losing any quality in terms of the file resolution or size. What do you make of this? Do you agree? It looks to me like there's no degradation in the image, and that proves the logic that we presumed right at the start of the video. Hey, I think we're going to leave it there. There's no point us investing any more time into this right now. Thank you so much for watching and have an awesome day today. We'll catch you next time. Bye.